Alexa, tell me what motorbike, other than a Lexmoto LXR 125, is as badass, beautiful and gorgeous.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Thank you. The rest of my case. Wide wedding. Good morning, riders. Today's the day I get my bike serviced. It's its first service, its first 300-mile service. From what I've read on Facebook and the Lexmoto groups, a lot of people say they feel a really good improvement in power and responsiveness in the bikes after the first service. So I'm really excited to see if I get the same results today. I've got all my service parts from Lextech. I will put a link in the description. I know last time I made a video I said I'd put links in the description to the things I used. I just completely forgot, if I'm honest. I spent all day filming and all night editing, and by the time it was uploaded I thought the links I had to go to bed. It wasn't uploaded till about 20 to 2 in the morning, but I will do that today. I'll put a link to where I got my service parts from. It's something like £33. You can pay £2-3 quid for delivery, or you can do like I did. I paid £10 delivery to get it today, because my friend who owns a garage, which I'm going to be taking you to, says if I can get my parts today, he can fit me in today. My bike's just about around 300 miles, which is the threshold where it needs to be. I think you get 10% leeway if you go 10% over. So if you do 331 miles and get it serviced, your warranty will be void. So make sure you get it done within that 10% threshold. My parts should be arriving any second. But yeah, it's going to be another nice day today. I think it's going to be upwards of like 27, 28 degrees. So as much as it pains me, I'm still going to have to wear my leather jacket, my Kevlar jeans, my boots, because above anything, you've got to be safe, and that's paramount to anything. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what happened here, but I seem to have lost some footage. I was at the garage and I thought I'd record the technician removing the air filter. There's a couple of videos on YouTube on how to service these LXR 125s, but nothing to show you where and how to remove the air filter. So I've done the best I could without without getting too much in the way of the technician. It was quite cool about me recording. So basically, as you can see, I'm not sure if I'll be able to pause this, but as you can see, the above the silver panel, the silver side panel that he's removing the bolts from, that has to come off. And I'm trying to show you there, but not at a very good angle. There's 4 Phillips head screws you have to take out. But yeah, first thing you have to do is remove this silver panel here. That's the first step to get into the air filter. Okay, so these are the 4 Phillips head screws I was talking about that you do have to remove in order to remove the air filter. The casing around inside the screws that is unscrewing, that's the air inlet, like air induction scoop, if you will, and that's all part of one unit that is fixed to the filter. It does look like, once you've undone the screws, that the air filter is too big to come out of the frame. But you need a bit of persuasion, you know, a little bit of force. I'm not saying yank it out of there like the Hulk, but give it a bit of force and a wiggle and it will pop free. I'd also like to mention at this point as well, those 2 white plugs that you can see, his hand has just covered them, but those 2 white plugs sit on my bike right in front of the air inlet scoop. There he is, he's putting it back in now. You do have to give it a bit of a push and a wiggle. Yeah, they sat right in front of the air inlet scoop, so do as I did and zip tie them out of the way. I don't want anything blocking any air going into my engine. You can see there the 2 white plugs. But yeah, I'm not saying this is how you should definitely do it, but I'm pretty sure there's not a guide out there on the internet, and this might help somebody out. I'm not sure, but I just thought I'd share with you guys. Good afternoon, riders. Just thought I'd let you know that I've come back from my first service. At 300 miles, or it's like 296 miles. Really happy with it. There was no problems. There was nothing. You know, when the technician dropped the oil, he said the oil's nice and clean. There's no bits in it, and you know, it's a brand new bike, so I wasn't expecting there to be any issues. But there's always that thing in the back of your head, isn't there, where, oh God, I hope everything's going to be all right with the bike, and I hope they don't tell me any nightmares that are going to come, you know, that they're going to come across. I suppose that's what warranty's for, which does alleviate that stress a little bit, but at the same time you don't want the headache of having to go through warranty work and then being without your bike until the warranty work's covered and all that. Anyway, so I'm really happy with the bike. I got my parts from Lextech off their website. The whole service kit, it was something like £33 to £34. You can pay a bit more to have next day delivery, which I did. I'll put a link to that in the description in case you guys want to go check out. If you might not have heard of Lextech, you might not have heard of their website. I'm guessing 99% of you have. Just, you know what I mean, for me, I've never owned a bike before. I don't know where else I would get service parts for a bike, whereas I went on Lextech, typed service kit 125, and then in there it says full service kit for a Lexmoto LXR 125, £33, consisted of an air filter, oil filter, a litre of oil and a spark plug. Now yeah, you only get 1 litre of oil, which is what they say you need, but you do need a bit more. So I bought an additional litre of oil, because once you've filled it up with a litre and you run the engine for 10-20 seconds or something like that, and then check your oil levels again, it's not quite there, it's not quite, you know, at the max or in between the minimum maximum. So you want it bang on. I noticed when after the technician had put the litre in, because I explained to him this, you know, about these bikes, and from what I've seen on a YouTube video, I think it's called Ride Reviews. Riders Reviews. He's a proper sound chap from what I've seen in his videos. He must have serviced 100 of these, and he says, you know, put a litre in, get it on the paddock stand, start it up, check your level, and yeah, done that. Explained that to the technician. So he done just that. Checked the dipstick level, it was below the minimum. So luckily I did buy that additional litre of oil, which was £8.40, £8.50. Like I say, I'll put all these links in the description just in case you're looking to get your first bike service, your bike's first service completed. And don't forget the all-important stamp in your service book, because without that your warranty will be void. The place I took my bike to was a private road garage, and that's in Nottingham, Netherfield. If you're not from around here, that might as well just ignore what I've said. But if you are from around here, I'll put a link to their garage in the description. Both very, very knowledgeable guys. The chap that actually done my service, his name's Orton. I've known him for quite a few years now, actually. I wouldn't say we're best friends or anything like that, but like, he's a good mate, you know. He's a nice guy, got loads of knowledge on motorbikes. Recently just rebuilt an engine in a god knows what, a seized engine, stripped it all down, rebuilt it, and for me personally, there's no one else I would rather be working on my bike than him. So yeah, thanks Orton, thanks a lot mate, appreciate that. But yeah, this is my 300-mile review on the bike now. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about how it's been for the first 300 miles, and then I'll give you a little walk around. Not that anything's out of place or anything diabolical, but it's always nice to have a look around the bike, you know. So yeah, I've done a 100-mile review. That was absolutely fine. I had to keep it below 40 miles an hour and 5,000 revs for the first 300 miles. So the first 100 miles was quite a slow-paced, you know, just bopping about, nipping to the shop as and when I could really. Any chance I got, I wanted to go out on the bike. And so for 100 miles, I was convinced, yeah, the bike's fine, no worries, it's nice and comfortable. Even though on other review videos I've seen, they've said it's quite a harsh ride. I thought, oh, I don't know what they're on about, this is quite a comfortable bike. Bearing in mind I was sticking to these limits, I wasn't, you know, ripping it back or anything like that, you know, and at some points there was cars right up my backside where I could have done with ripping the throttle back a bit more, but I didn't want to go above my rev limit or go above the miles per hour and ruin and break something. You know, they've given you that braking period for a reason, is what I think. So yeah, that was the first 100 miles. A smile every mile, enjoyed it. Then coming up to 200 miles, absolutely fine. But then I started noticing the clutch biting point. At first, didn't bother me too much. I might have been in the honeymoon period of the bike, and I've asked, and you know, other people who own these bikes, and the biting point is literally just at the very end of the clutch release. So it's quite hard to ride the clutch in certain places and at certain times. During my CBT, I was advised, you know, slow moving, doing a U-turn in the road, plenty of back brake, slip the clutch, and that will keep you quite stable. But on that, it's very, very difficult. That's starting to get on my nerves a bit now, so I'm going to wait till it's due its second service and get the technician to adjust that for an earlier biting point, so I can ride the clutch a bit easier. The second thing to note is the rear brake lever. You have to push down quite firm and far before it starts to bite. Again, it's not really a problem. I don't know if that's anything to do with the Euro 4 rear braking connecting to the front braking. I'm not sure. But yeah, like I say, I reckon the first 100 miles I was just infatuated in love with the bike, and I still am. I don't want any other bike but this. This is just my sweetheart. But I think certain things certain things you brush off because you're in that honeymoon period of, my God, my new bike, I love it. So yeah. So, but again, these are minor things. Now I'm at 300 miles. I'm at 300 miles now, and again, it's been a smile every single mile. If you don't ride it and smile, you're looking at it and smiling. Look, it's just gorgeous. And also, actually, I'll do a walk around. Bear with me. Okay, this is something else I wanted to pick up as well. You see the gear lever, this bolt here. I don't know if it was just my bike, but I noticed that came quite loose. This thing was just slapping all over the place, and I started noticing, why am I struggling to knock it into 5th gear? I can go through all the gears absolutely fine. Coming up to 5th, 9 times out of 10, it'd be like hitting a brick wall. Then I'd have to let go, and then it would click in. This had worked itself loose. I don't know, I have no idea why or how, but it did, and I've nipped it back up, and ever since I've done that, it's been absolutely fine. I've been able to engage 5th gear without an issue whatsoever. So it's something to bear in mind. If you haven't checked it, just check that. Just make sure that's nice and nipped up. Obviously, you can't do it too, you know, overly tight. I mean, it stops at a certain point anyway, but don't think you have to keep going until that, you know, that freedom of movement is gone, because you need that freedom of movement so you can engage the gears. I mean, it's a 300-mile review, so I feel like I need to be talking about things that I've noticed and picked up, and I've touched on the rear brake lever and the clutch biting point. But it's been beautiful. It's been a beautiful bike. Can't ask for anything more out of a 125 than what I've got right here at all. So yeah, this is me doing my 300-mile check-in. Let me just turn this round again. So yeah, that was me doing my 300-mile check-in. I wish I had more to talk about. I wish I had something to, you know, to tell you about the bike, other than what I've told you. But in one way, that's a blessing. There's nothing for me to talk about really. I've spoken about the things that are a slight irritation, not bike destroying by any means, just something that you might also find is quite frustrating. So come my next service, I'm going to get that done. My clutch biting point and the rear brake lever. Yeah, but these so far for 300 miles, love it. I don't know if I've already spoke about this, but since, you know, riding back after the service, the bikes do pick up. They do pick up a lot, and I don't know if that's because I can now take it above 5,000 revs. In fact, I know it's not because of that, because it feels a lot more torquey getting to 5,000 revs. It's got a lot more to give now. Let me take that back. Not a lot more, some more. It's got some more to give. It feels a bit more, you know, perky. You pull the throttle back and you can feel it kind of wanting to take you back a bit, which is nice. Because it's a motorbike at the end of the day, and they should all have some element of you know, you expect a bit of fun on all bikes, don't you? You know, yeah. Even though this is a heavy 125, it's not going to be fast by any means. It does make me feel a bit better when I pull the throttle back now, and I can feel it's a bit more lively and a bit more up for it. So yeah, still love the bike. I still recommend buying one. And when I do my theory test, hopefully, you know, I was hoping Boris Johnson, when he done his latest speech about what can reopen from the 4th of July, I was really hoping he was going to say, you know, well, not say, because he can't mention every single business, or he'd spend all day on the telly doing so, but I was hoping test centres for theory tests and stuff might reopen, and it doesn't look like they are. But as soon as they do open, I'm going for my theory test, and I'm doing my mod 1, and I'm bringing you along with me, because by then I'll have a good camera. I will do a live mod 1 recording with the camera on my chest or on my helmet, so you can come along with me and see what's involved with the mod 1. And then after maybe 6 months to a year, I'm going to take this bike, maybe sell it or Vortex it, I'm not too sure, but buy the exact same bike but in a 380. This is brilliant. I love it as a 125, so I'm simply just going to adore it as a 380. So yeah, I hope that covers some questions people might have. I know it's more of a, that's what you're here for, isn't it? Not me. So yeah, 300 miles, can't fault it, absolutely love it. Thinking about getting one, get one. That's my advice.